In a world full of noise, two voices rise above the chaos. Ron and Brian. They speak truth. They stir thought. They accidentally help. News, nonsense, and necessary self-care. Join the cult of Ron and Brian. Because the work is so important.
And good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night. It is 8 o'clock here on the East Coast, and it is time for the Cult of Ron and O'Brien podcast. We're feeling Irish tonight, aren't we, Brian? We are so close to St. Paddy's Day.
Listen, for those people that listened to our recent championship debate, where Ron and I were put to the ringer by our moderator. We both do not know how to do a Irish accent. It's awful.
Clearly.
So out of respect to all Irish men and women and other genders, I will not be pretending to do an Irish accent right now.
Probably for the best. We appreciate anyone joining us live. A lot going on here tonight, Brian. We've got the Oscars going on tonight, and we have the big World Baseball Classic semifinal, U.S. versus the Dominican Republic.
That's going on live. We're going up against the USA game.
We are going up against that right now, yes, and going up against AEW pay-per-view as well.
I'm not scared. I'm not uncomfortable about any of it. I don't believe that any of that will affect our ratings.
All right. Well, we'll give some updates about the Oscars as the night goes along. Best Supporting Actress, Brian, Amy Madigan from Weapons, playing the bad guy in that movie. Well deserved. And I know you were very excited in your household for this. Best Animated Feature, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh my God. She loved it. The lady loved it, was singing along. Thank you, Spotify, for creating a playlist of songs that were in the movie. So I got to listen to that for a hot minute.
All right. Well, let's keep things rolling along here, Brian. We'll start off as we always do. It's time for Drink of the Week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the week.
Pleasure.
Pause.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Drink of the week.
All right, Brian, what are you drinking this week, my friend?
Ron, it's St. Patrick's Day week. There is only one beer that you can drink and still hold your head up high. And that beer is Sam Adams Breakaway Blonde. You are absolutely correct. This is a 4.7 ABV. It's a seasonal golden ale available genuinely January to March by the fine folks over at Sam Adams, based out of Boston, Massachusetts. This features a light, crisp profile with biscuit malt notes. It's got a touch of tangerine and a clean finish. This easy drinking beer, you know I like my beers easy drinking. It's designed for spring, offering a subtle, balanced flavor, profile suitable for those seeking a flavorful yet light, low bitterness beer. Beer Advocate gives it a score of 82, which they consider very good. I'm about to take a sip.
Take a sip. Sam Adams, of course, Irish descent.
I have possibly no idea.
You're taking a second sip. You seem to be enjoying your choice of beverage.
They make mention of that malt. I'm not a malt fan. I would love to hide that in the flavor profile. But overall, I mean, look at the color of this beer. This is the color of beer I like. It looks the same coming in as it does going out. Jojo, you're going to make a reference to my hydration level and that I'm not drinking enough water if this is what it looks like coming out. Unfortunately, sometimes that is the case. I'm enjoying this. I also have some Crown Royal chocolate that I will be enjoying throughout the show. Ron.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes, my friend.
Ron.
I'm here, right here for you.
What are you drinking this week?
So this week, in honor of St. Patty's Day, St. Patty's Week, whatever you say, an actual product of Ireland. That's right, Harp Lager, the classic by the folks at Guinness and Company. If you are having a black and tan, this is the other half of it. This is the tan part. A nice crushable 4.5%. Again, looking very much like your urine specimen after a hard workout when you forgot your water bottle back at the White Ivory Tower. Let's see how it is.
Take a sip. I'm going to even suggest you take a second sip.
So good.
Take a second sip. I know you're going to enjoy it. Take a second sip. Walk me through, what are you experiencing right now?
Listen, it is crisp. It is smooth. It is everything you want in a lager and more. As Joe points out, I like them black and tan. Guilty as charged. Got that in there before Brian could. But just, delicious and refreshing. Brian, you're a Harp fan, correct?
Very much so. Very much so. I enjoy Harp way more than I do a Guinness. You know, they say Guinness is like drinking a loaf of bread, whereas Harp, it's got that sharpness to it. To me, Harp is a one of the definitive crushable beers. You
100%.
go to an Irish pub, you order a burger with some Irish bacon, some nice Irish cheddar cheese. You get that burger coming. You want a Harp. You're not looking for a beer that's going to weigh you down. You want to put away like 3 Harps for every cheeseburger you're about to eat.
Do you maybe get some bubbles and squeak with that? Some bangers and mash? Like what else are you going for?
No. I'm going to get a cheeseburger. I've had bubbles and squeak. The cabbage, corned beef combination is great, but it wreaks havoc with my lower intestine. And it is noisy. It is sulfuric.
I assume it's called bubbles and squeak because that's what your stomach sounds like after you digest.
Yes, my dad was a big fan of bubbles and squeak. It just smelled nasty when he would make it. That was always my mom would make a corned beef for St. Patty's Day, and then the next day my dad would take take a cabbage, cook it up, and eat that with the leftover corned beef. Smelled terrible.
Well, since we've gotten through the drinks, let's air our grievances. It's time for beef of the week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you tonight?
You know, this is going to be very straightforward. I don't think I'm going to take too much time. I do not believe there will be even a tangent in this. My beef this week is restaurants that try to turn the table way too fast, rushing you through your dining experience. Like we may have talked about it before. Last night went to one of my favorite pizzerias in New York City, Arturo's, which is on Houston Street, just east of 6th Avenue. I've been going to it for, I'm going to say, at least 25 years. Still a absolutely solid pie. They open at 5 o'clock. Yesterday, my buddy and I walked in there at 5:30. By 5:33, the waiter came by with his notepad ready to take our order.
Okay.
And from that point on, it was him trying to rush us so that we could finish our meal, move out, and they could bring somebody else in. It happens. I understand. But, you know, sometimes you want a restaurant where you're not going to be rushed, where you're going to sit there and be like, you know, I'm here I want to catch up. We haven't hung out in a while. We're going to have like a beer or two before we order. And then when we order, I'm going to order an appetizer. I don't even know what pizza I want. We'll get to that. This guy, every couple of minutes came by. Have you figured it out? Do you guys know what you want? What do you know? Oh, okay, I'll come back. Then the look of, I want to say disappointment, or he was definitely off put by the fact that I looked at him at one point and said, just give us some time. You know, I'm not in a rush, and when we're ready to order the pizza, I'll let you know. Just he looked at me for a second too long, and then turned around and walked away. And it just irked me. Like, I understand some tables are in a hurry. You can be attentive to those tables, but if the table has made it clear that they're not in a rush, don't rush them. You
Right.
know, it's not the way. It's not the way to run an establishment.
Or at least make note when someone makes a reservation if there is a certain amount of time they want you to have
Sure.
the table for. Like there are restaurants in
Absolutely.
Philadelphia where when you make your reservation on Open Table or Resy or wherever, it says
Yeah.
on a Saturday night, you know, parties of 2, please limit yourself to an hour and a half. But if they're not going
Which
to
I'm
tell you
great
that,
with.
right?
At least they're communicating it, so I know when I walk in. If I've got a 5:30 reservation, I'm going to be. They want me out by 7. Okay, now I know. But don't try to rush me right off the bat. That's my beef of the week. Ron, what's
Yes.
bothering you this St.
So
Patrick's Day spectacular?
my beef, also, I guess, somewhat restaurant related, with Uber Eats. We earlier this week weren't feeling like cooking, placed an order from Uber Eats. Nothing simple. We just want a little McDonald's. Sometimes you just want a little McDonald's. And it took first driver picks up the order. He's going to pick it up. Then all of a sudden cancels. Then the same driver decides to accept the order, cancel it again. Then we've got to wait for a driver. So it took about an hour for the food to get to us. In the meantime, McDonald's has already started to make the food, of course.
Sure.
So by the time it gets to us, ice cold, just absolutely ice cold. And so, you know, we can microwave it, heat it back up, but it's still, you know, not that great heated up. So I go on the Uber Eats app and say, hey, I need help. Like the food quality wasn't good. And so their response was, well, we got it to you in the time that it was promised. So we're not going to do anything for you.
That's upsetting. That's upsetting. Joe is not approving of your McDonald's order. Guy Bannister says McDonald's is garbage poison. Shame on Ron, not champ behavior. Ron, really? You are getting slammed in the comments this week over your
early go for me. So what are you going to do?
Seriously.
What are you going to do?
Even Janelle wishes that you had invited her over for McDonald's. Really, Johanna, really just triggered by McDonald's saying that it's also piss colored. What did you order, if I may ask? What did you get from McDonald's?
I go quarter pounder with cheese and fries.
Classic.
Yeah. The lady goes 2 cheeseburgers and a fry. That's her thing. Which I'm not 100% sure why she does the 2 cheeseburger value meal when she consistently does not eat the second cheeseburger.
Well, that's right. That way you can have it because I know you're going to eat it.
But I don't typically eat it because I'm usually full by the time I've had my quarter pounder. Maybe what I need to do is
you're never full.
Order a 2 cheeseburger meal, just get a larger fry and just order her an additional cheeseburger.
But you like the Big Mac. Big Macs have a viscerally different taste than a cheeseburger.
I like the Big Mac.
Did you at any point think of ordering the Arch Burger or whatever?
I did not. No.
When you hold your burger, are you comfortable holding it? Do you hold it like it's a nuclear waste?
So what I do when I eat my McDonald's is, regardless of what I may be wearing, I'll change into a quarter zip with a button down underneath it. I will sit at a countertop. I will face the fries away from me and I will hold it and just take the littlest bites I can of the burger.
Will you then go, what a great product.
Such a good product.
Such a good
How funny are all of the AI remakes of the McDonald's CEO, the different music ones, music videos they're making of him, of like the filet of fish, the snack wrap.
Listen, there's a lot of people out there with a lot of free time on their hands. But I will say this: there are a lot of people that are putting good use of that free time, just sitting there having AI, having these gigantic data centers that are basically killing electricity for these small towns, killing water use in these small towns. But it's great because I have a video of Muhammad Ali yelling at the current CEO of McDonald's for how he holds burger. Like it's just utterly genius.
It's so good, so good. Anyway, moving on, we've got our stories of the week. As you longtime listeners know, these are the stories that we grab, we pull aside. We want to make sure that we get to you. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
You know, Ron, my story of the week this week takes us all the way up to Maine, where there is, shocker, a politician who is in trouble with the woke left. Do you have a photo of Graham Plattner? Graham Plattner is a Maine Senate hopeful. He looks like an honest man, the kind of person that I would want to represent me in my state legislature. Apparently, he is not apologizing anymore for the Nazi-linked tattoo that he was caught with last year. And he's even claiming that Jewish leaders buy his excuse about it. The New York Post, who are all pro-Israel nowadays, are just jumping on this story. Plattner, who is running for the Democratic nod, go figure, he previously apologized to the offensive tattoo on his chest. He argued that headlines have left voters with the impression that his tattoo had a more obvious link to Nazis. Here is the quote from Plattner. I had a meeting in New York not that long ago with a number of Jewish leaders. We started talking about it, and when we started, somebody said, wait a second, we thought you had a swastika. Well, apparently he did not have something that was so obviously a swastika. But Plattner, an oyster farmer and a Marine veteran, long claimed that he got the tattoo, which looked like a Totenkopf, or a death's head symbol used by the notorious Nazi SS secret police force, when he was in Croatia while inebriated in 2007. Ron, when we were in college, I remember you at the radio station used to get into a lot of grief with some of the Jewish DJs that we had on staff, and frankly, some of the non-Jews, because you used to love taking your shirt off while doing the your jazz radio show. You would take your shirt off, and all of your Nazi tattoos that you had on your chest would suddenly be visible. I don't recall how you got out of trouble for the Nazi tattoos, swastikas, pictures of Hitler on your over your heart, because I do remember you were elevated to the role of jazz director while you were at the station. You know, is there any advice you can give Plattner on how to overcome and get beyond the anti-Semitic tattoos?
Don't partner yourself with someone with 49% energy.
Ooh, low blow, Ron. Low blow. Speaking of low blows, what is your story of the week?
So my story of the week this week, it goes also up into the New England area, into Springfield, Massachusetts, where a neurologist was slapped with a 5-year probation after fellow employees at Bayside Health saw him masturbating inside of his office. This is according to recently unredacted records from the state's medical board. This is a photo of Dr. Robert A. Martin. He admitted to masturbating in his locked office located across the street from Bayside Health's Demore Center for Cancer Care, according to a 2024 consent order. About 10 to 20 cancer center employees saw Martin in the act on November 21st, 2023, and reported him to hospital security and administrators. The Massachusetts Board of Registration in Medicine initially suspended Martin's license over the incident, but stayed the suspension after he agreed to 5 years of probation and other conditions. He has also entered into apparently a behavioral health monitoring contract. Now, you have often commented, in our group chat, like, guys just finished, whacking off in my office. You've never gotten caught. How have you managed to do something that Dr. Martin has not been able to do?
The trick is to stay late at work. If you are going to be doing this at work, you cannot do it during the middle of the day when there are lots of people walking around, especially, I would imagine, as a doctor. You're going to be needed multiple times. Like you could probably never have time for yourself where you could just go into a windowless room, close the door, and have 3 to 4 minutes to yourself. The trick, at least in the white collar world, Ron, is to if you're going to relieve yourself this way, the stress that builds up during the course of a workday. I mean, I think we can all agree that sometimes you need to release some of that stress. Do it at the end of the day when most of the people have left the office.
Well, and so this apparently it was in the late afternoon. He had returned to his office after seeing 6 patients. His attorney said that he was unaware that he could have been seen through his office's windows. However, a cancer center employee said that she saw Martin standing partly undressed in the center of his office, facing the windows with his penis in one hand and his cell phone in the other.
Whoa, this guy's doing it all wrong. You're telling me he's standing in the middle of the room facing the window. Right. No, you do it at your desk. You hide behind your monitor. And so this way, anything happening from the waist down, I mean, you put a towel down, of course, because you're going to start sweating profusely during the act. You put the towel down in your chair. You then sit on it, pants down by your ankle, and then you do what you have to do. Also, I'm a little concerned, for a medically licensed somebody who's passed the bar, and I guess that might be a legal term. But
I was going to say,
I realized this. I was saying, and I was possibly making a mistake. But the article states there that after 6 patients, he was just like, "Whoo! I've had enough for the day. I need to go bust.
I can't even wait to get home. This has been a doozy of a day. I've been here 8 hours and had to talk to 6 people.
6 patients. 6 patients is, oh my God. Just imagine the people that work at the front desk of your hotels. If every time they have to speak to 6 different hotel guests, they need to run into the back to take care of themselves.
Be like, hey, can you cover the desk? I need 5. I just literally, I need these 5 and I need 5 minutes.
just had a couple that are in town for a business meeting, and he was looking for a free upgrade into his suite, and we don't have any. And he was very mad because, he had the Marriott reward points, and he thought that could just automatically upgrade him.
There was a couple with 5 kids. I thought I was going to burst, but I'm just going to take my break now and then maybe grab a little dinner.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do it, you better hide better. And then also don't tell me that after 6 patients, you need a break. That's frightening. What state was this again? You said North. It was
this was Massachusetts. Area. And the boards. He took the medical boards. Johanna has corrected you, not the bar.
Not the bar. Correct. I apologize. And that's one of the things I like about this show is that I'm made accountable in the group chat right here, which is why I say to those people who are listening, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, they're watching the YouTube video or they're listening to the podcast. You're missing out so much on the ability to embarrass or mock Ron and I in real time by not watching live.
Exactly. Well, let's keep it moving, Brian. We're in week 2 of the war with Iran, a war that apparently, according to President Trump, we won last Monday, but it does seem to continue to be going on. A lot. I think the attacks on the other Middle East countries have slowed down, but there still seems to be missiles landing in Israel. Also, a lot of people are saying that Benjamin Netanyahu might be dead. Have you been following this rabbit hole on the news?
I followed it. Unfortunately, the article in the New York Post, probably from about 2 hours ago, Netanyahu is alive, not dead. However, Iran's supreme leader, I don't know his name. He's probably got another week left in that role. He said that they are going to be going after Netanyahu. Rightfully so. I mean, Israel bombed out the leader of the first supreme leader. They killed him in a bomb. Then they apparently the Americans bombed the school with the 156 kids. So I'm starting to think maybe we do just move forward and acknowledge that it's time for the Iranians to make a comeback.
All right.
But also most concerning is the attack on that oil tanker. Let's be brutally honest, Ron. I understand that there are Middle Eastern aggression going on in the countries, that the militaries of various countries are getting involved. But at the end of the day, the real story here is, can oil tankers go through the Strait of Hormuz?
Hormuz?
Close. Hormuz?
Close?
There's
Hormuz?
no T in there. Is there?
You pronounced it, it's a silent T. Anyway,
a silent T. But the very fact that we're bombing the shit out of this country because we wanted to preempt the attack, supposedly that they were going to attack us, but then also we were attacking them because they were going to have nuclear weapons, even though we obliterated their program a year ago
back in July.
But we attacked them. But really, what we all most are concerned about is, will the oil tankers be able to deliver oil so that we can have cheap gasoline through the upcoming summer driving season? I mean, that's what's more important.
Right now, Energy Secretary Chris Wright is predicting that Americans should feel some pain at the gas pumps for the next few weeks. He is hopeful that prices could potentially drop below $3 a gallon by the summer. Gas prices are currently averaging $3.69 a gallon nationally, whereas the national average was right around $3 before the war in Iran broke out. He said it could top $5 potentially a gallon, but who knows at this point? Everything in the Middle East is up for grabs, it seems.
Well, it sure does not. It sure seems as if our Department of War, run by Hegseth, our Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I imagine Stephen Miller had some say in this as well.
Apparently, Jordan Kushner was involved also. Jared Kushner, excuse me.
And he's not. Boy, if there was a list of corrections for names that we've blown, what I should do is pull up some articles where you have to read Iranian names, because we know you struggle with those. We're doing an atrocious job on names, but it's the fact that it seems as if we walked into the bombing of Iran thinking we are going to just level them. They'll have no defense. This will be over in a couple days. And now that it's going on into 2 weeks, there definitely seems to be a degree of I want to say bewilderment as to how this proceeds. You obviously have Trump in the White House going on Truth Social talking about, oh my God, this is terrible, Ron. Just talking about how, we've already won the war. We've already defeated everything about Iran. Somehow they keep launching missiles and raining down in Iran. But according, he'll sit there, and we know his statements are not necessarily factually based, but there definitely does not seem to be a plan for what's next. Like, we had this plan for how to attack them. Okay, so we attacked them. And now
there was not thought out.
No, there does not seem to be a phase 2. I think these guys really thought they walked in there and just thought this was going to be over.
Also, in addition to missiles, pro-Iranian hackers caused a global network disruption to U.S. medical device maker Stryker, based out of Michigan this past week.
Saw that.
They make a range of hospital equipment. Apparently, one of the main things that was disrupted by the cyber attack was an IT system called LifeNet, which emergency responders use to communicate patient data to hospitals. So that obviously put hospitals in a bad way until that was fixed. Should we expect to see more of this? Because it seems like we have not, much like we haven't focused on a lot of the infrastructure in this country. I feel like our cybersecurity of a lot of our companies and even our government isn't up to snuff. Should we expect to see more of this in the coming weeks, Brian?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think the truth is that it does not seem that we have a real handle on what the Iranian ability is when it comes to military defense or offense. It does not seem that we have a lot of knowledge about the Iranian hacker systems. I mean, we've heard about them, but we do not know, how good their capabilities are.
All right. Real quick update, Brian. Oscar for Best Supporting Actor going to Sean Penn for One Battle After Another.
He was good in that movie.
Yeah.
He was very good in that movie. The movie seemed to I enjoyed watching that movie, but I can't say that it was a Oscar level movie as a whole. The story seemed to just not be great, but the acting in it was real good. Sean Penn, absolutely.
Agreed. And they also won Oscar for Best Casting, which makes sense because it was a phenomenal cast in that movie.
That it was. Also, update, United States and the Dominican Republic. We're going into the bottom of the second. No score.
A tight one out there. Where are they playing? They're this game's in the US, correct?
No, this one's in Miami, I believe. I believe all the games now are in Miami.
So that's not in the United States?
No, Miami. Have you been down there?
Anyway, you mentioned Pete Hegseth and the Department of War. Many articles coming out this week talking about the Pentagon spending in September as they came to the end of their fiscal year, needing to use up a lot of money or losing it. So they spent nearly $9 million on Alaskan king crab and lobster tails, more than $200 million in furniture, and $5.3 million in Apple devices. Just some of the spending that added up to a record $93 billion price tag for the month. Insane. This is the same Department of War that has a $1 trillion budget that Donald Trump seems to feel should go to $1.5 trillion when we can't clearly spend all the money on things that are actually necessary.
But Ron, this is not that big of a deal because if you take a look at the amount of savings that the Doge agency with Elon Musk and his 22-year-old geeks with AI, if you look at the amount of money that they saved us last year by shutting down school lunch programs and U.S. aid programs, like if you look at the amount of money they saved us, also all the money that we collected on tariffs from the American people, not a tax, tariffs, it's going to hurt foreign countries, not the American people, allegedly. Somehow all my prices went up. If you look at the amount of money we collected, this spending by our Department of War, if you think about it, it is all morale boosting. We are sending men and women overseas to fight. Their life is on the line. They absolutely, what are you going to do, Ron? Are you going to give them snow crabs? No, you're not going to put them out there with Maryland soft shell crabs. No, there is nothing but the finest Alaskan king crab, which is only available for a couple weeks for the fishing. We've all watched Deadliest Catch. We understand how important it is, the king crab season. So, these are small dollars in the grand scheme of things. True. And it's just a distraction.
They only spent $1.8 million on musical instruments, Brian. That included a $98,000 Steinway grand piano for the Air Force Chief of Staff's home, a $26,000 violin, and a $22,000 custom handmade flute from the luxury Japanese brand Muramatsu.
Now, that also, again, it sounds expensive, but Ron, how much was the rhinestone encrusted fleshlight that you ordered when you became champion 3 years ago? I believe it was the Angela White vagina fleshlight. You paid extra for it to be rhinestone encrusted. So this way there would be a little bit friction, which I know you kind of like. That, if I remember correctly, that itself was a 1.75
Here's the difference,
million.
Brian. I wasn't using taxpayer money to buy that.
No, you are using podcast money. So the money that we are collecting from our Patreon, you use to buy yourself a Angela White fleshlight. And I just feel like, the $25,000 violin for the chief of staff of the Air Force. I think that he or she has deserved it.
All right, Brian supporting government waste as usual. Next up, Uber launched a feature last week to allow both women riders and drivers across the U.S. to be matched with other women for trips, expanding a pilot program aimed at addressing concerns about the safety of its ride-hailing platform. This new feature is being rolled out nationwide despite an ongoing class action lawsuit against the policy in California, filed by Uber drivers who argue that it discriminates against men. Rival ride-hailing company Lyft is facing a discrimination lawsuit over a similar offering that it introduced nationwide in 2024. Brian, your thoughts on this? You are the senior misogyny correspondent for the podcast. Talk to me about your thoughts on this.
I actually don't think that it's discriminatory in nature.
Yeah.
I think that because they're not employees, they are not subject to the same EEOC rules that employees have protections over. And I also feel like if a woman is looking to use a rideshare program for transportation, I think that I've read enough articles of inebriated, intoxicated women being sexually assaulted by male Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. I don't want to, this isn't an attack on Uber,
Sure.
but I've also heard that there are Uber Eats drivers who have been known to pick up quarter pounders with cheese, open up the cardboard packaging, insert their penis into the area between the slice of cheese and the burger, get that nice tight suction action going on, then after finishing, closing it and then dropping it off in Philadelphia adjacent neighborhoods.
Interesting. I mean, I will say the bag was sealed with the protective label, so I'm
Sure.
hoping that didn't happen. Brian, real quick, another update.
Hold on a second. What is your thoughts about this Uber policy? Because I actually genuinely think it's a great thing.
I agree. I agree as well. One of the last hotels I worked at on a non-property basis, we actually created a women's only floor on the hotel for female travelers if they didn't, if they wanted to stay. It was key access and everything else, and it was very popular. And then when the hotel transitioned over to be a Marriott was like, no, we don't allow that. We don't want to get sued over.
That's a shame.
But I think, listen, if this was a perfect world, you wouldn't need these kind of safety features in place.
Yeah.
But I can certainly see why, women, especially, if you've had too much to drink, or if you're in an unfamiliar area, or if it's after dark, I can see why you'd want, a female
Absolutely.
driver. And if you were a female driver, vice versa, I can see where maybe you don't want a backseat full of drunk guys at 2 a.m. on a Friday night.
Sure. I mean, like, you used to have a backseat full of men back when you were in college,
Back in the day, yeah. Yeah, Johanna says she always sends screenshots to her mom of the driver and car profile.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. Like, they say that they have safety protocols in place, but
they don't.
You've seen too many stories where women are getting raped or injured or killed. And it's I agree with you.
So I actually am and the truth be told is if men are going to protest these policies because they're discriminatory, I'm going to say to those same men, stop assaulting women. Now, you may not individually at an individual level be assaulting the women, but there's a reason why women are not comfortable getting in cars with male drivers. It's because there have been enough men out there who are out there driving for these rideshare companies who sit there and say, hey, there's a woman who was slurring her words a little bit coming home from the bars. I think she's sleeping back there. Well, I'm going to pull into this weird alley that's dark, and I'm going to see what I can do here. Yeah, Men deserve these types of discriminatory behavior. Yes,
Sure,
absolutely,
100%.
and I'm all in favor of it. We've brought it upon ourselves.
Speaking of people that don't agree with you, Brian, the Oscars, apparently you weren't a fan of one battle after another, but Paul Thomas Anderson winning Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay for that movie.
You know, having not read the original screenplay, I can't say that the adapted screenplay is something that I would have a problem with.
What is the difference between, and you are you're a movie buff, you're educated
Sure.
in this area. What's the difference between an original screenplay and adapted screenplay?
Basically, an adapted screenplay is there's a book, or there
Okay.
is a short story, a novella, if you would, that somebody is going to write a screenplay based on the story that's in that book. Your screenplay, your best screenplay, is just somebody who has an idea for a story, and they write it in a screenplay format. So an adapted is where it's a story that has originally been told in a non-screenplay format that has been brought into the screenplay world.
Now, do you still have a level of frustration that your porn screenplays have never been considered for an Oscar of any type?
Listen, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. As a married man nowadays, I'm not even aware that there is audio to these types of movies anymore. I just don't hear them. The volume is turned off. I'm just watching. It's a pure visual intake.
So you're raw dogging your porn, so to speak.
At some point, I came across a website that had subtitles.
Literally,
it was just like for about a month. I forgot what website it was, but the subtitles was just like it was like God just sat there and was just like,
we're gonna help this. We're gonna help this young man out right here.
I'm taking care of you tonight, little buddy. And I forgot what website it was, and we all moved on.
All right, Brian, the anonymous graffiti artist known as Banksy has finally been unmasked after changing his name to something generic so he could hide in plain sight. His polarizing works have sold for millions of dollars over the years. He was identified as Robin Gunningham, age 51, in a detailed investigation by Reuters on Friday. The report found that Gunningham changed his name to David Jones, one of the most common male British names, in 2008 to avoid identification. As part of their investigation, reporters pulled information from a trip to war-torn Ukraine, where he was photographed and spoke with locals, a falling out with Jamaican photographer Peter Dean Rickards, and a 2000 NYPD arrest report, including a signed, handwritten confession.
Why
can't we have nice things?
What do you mean?
Why was it even necessary to uncover his identity?
Well, I believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that you announced 2 years ago that there was a $50 prize to anybody who could disclose the actual identity of Banksy. You were upset, if I remember correctly, because it was he stole your idea of shredding works of art. You know, I know you are anti-art. You said for many years, hey, if I could get my hands on a Van Gogh, I would put that thing in a shredder. We all know that famous Banksy, where it was a photo of a girl with a balloon, and it was being auctioned. Correct. The second that the auction ended, I think it sold for about $2 million. Suddenly, he had built in a shredder inside of the picture frame so that the work of art automatically went down and got shredded. You said right off the bat, I need my justice. I need to know the name of this person so that I can bring them to court.
I think that was what was more upsetting was the fact that after it was shredded and renamed Love is in the Bin, it sold again for $25.4 million in 2021.
Unfucking believable. There's just a lot. People have a lot of money to spend. But there's also ridiculous. I've read a bunch of things over the course of the last few years, which basically comes across or addresses that the art world right now, and has for years, just been a hub of money laundering, where it's tax shelters and money laundering. So somebody buys a piece of art for $100,000, gets it appraised for $20 million, donates it to a museum. Now they can take a tax write-off for $20 million, even though they paid $100,000 for it. But as long as it's appraised for $20 million, which, when you think about it, is a completely arbitrary number.
Sure.
But the number of things I've read where the art world is just rife for underground activity, which you would never think based on the way the news channels report on the vast sums that are being spent in the art world.
It is insane. Another quick update, Brian. Best original screenplay, Ryan Coogler for the movie Sinners, which I still need to see. It looks good, but I have yet to watch it.
I made it through about 15 minutes of it and just said, I don't think I was in the mood for.
So you only made it through like 15 minutes of Sinners. You only made it through 15 minutes of Hamnet.
Correct.
You weren't a fan of One Battle After Another. What would be your best picture of the year for last year?
Couldn't tell you. Don't really watch a lot of things, but I feel like you're trying to segue into what are you watching?
I wasn't, but what are you watching?
Okay, I watched a couple things. First off, DTF St. Louis is still episode 2 came out, I believe, this weekend. Might have been a week ago. Don't remember. She's not wrong, Ron. She's not wrong. I do have terrible taste. Most of them are of the adult nature. Anywho, my point is DTF St. Louis, episode 2, season 1 on HBO. Jason Bateman, the woman from Freaks and Geeks, whose name I don't recall, but she had brown hair in Freaks and Geeks, and now she's got it dyed blonde. Anywho, to make a long story short, really enjoying that show. Also watched a documentary called Manosphere. I think it was on Netflix.
Oh, with Louis Theroux?
It's Louis Theroux. He goes down to Miami and interviews some of these, I want to say, right-wing, misogynist. They are, your traditional gender role podcasters, or social media personalities. And he really goes into the reality of what their life is like, how much of what the image that they put out is actually based on reality versus what they want people to see. It goes into some detail of what kind of people are following this. I mean, these are the people that are sitting there, I've got these guys have a one-sided open relationship where their main girl, whether it's a girlfriend or a wife, has to be loyal to them, stay home, raise the children, but they're allowed to go out and go dating and pick up sexual partners. They're like, that's the way that a real man should behave. Or to the degree of just, working out, and, it literally was just, it was a midnight watch, and I'm not sure that my life was improved in any way. The one thing I did learn was that these guys just nonstop talk.
Yeah.
I've
seen some clips, and it just seems like they love to hear themselves talk more than anything else.
Yes. It is just a rolling dialogue. And then earlier today, I watched something on HBO called Fackham Hall, which is...
How was that? I saw that on screen, and I didn't check it out.
It is it's kind of like it's from what I've heard, it has been compared to a British, it's like a Downton Abbey meets Airplane. So it's lots of this, like, joke every 3 seconds kind of environment.
It's like
It's
a Faulty
lighthearted.
Towers kind of old British humor
Yes,
type thing.
but it's like Airplane, so it's a lot of sight gags. It's a lot of like double and not good. Would not recommend. Give it a
Okay.
shot. It's but it's just one of those things where it's I looked at it, I'm like, this didn't need to be made. This is not good.
Okay.
It's clever. It's just bad jokes. What are you watching?
So again, second what you say about DTF St. Louis. Second episode was good. I think the third episode drops tonight. Still watching The Pit. Still a great show. What else am I watching? Watching season 2 of Paradise on Hulu. That's I don't know if it's going to be as good as season 1, but I'll keep checking it out. But one show I watched the first episode of it. Have you watched Neighbors on HBO
No,
Max, the reality
I
series?
did not. Hold on. It's a reality show. I thought it was based on the movie Neighbors.
No. So it
Oh.
is what?
My mind's blown. I thought it was a remake of the Tom Hanks movie Neighbors.
Well, you're thinking of the Burbs, I think.
Yes. To quote Janelle, I have a terrible taste in movie. So I thought Neighbors.
So you are correct.
was The
They
Burbs.
did remake Tom Hanks' movie The Burbs into a TV show, The Burbs, on Peacock. I am not watching that.
Neighbors. Okay, keep going. Talk to me.
This is a docuseries, and each episode has 2 stories about neighbor disputes.
Really?
So the first episode was the 2 stories. One was it's an ongoing battle between beachgoers and private homeowners on the Santa Rosa Beach shoreline in Florida, because you have areas that are private beach, areas that are public beach. And then out in rural Montana, like we're talking out in the middle of nowhere where you barely have neighbors, this one guy who's been living there for a while is having an issue with this other guy who moved his family out there during COVID, but put a gate up on like the main road because it doesn't like people driving through his area. And it's it's real life, and it's like,
wow,
it was very interesting. My wife, I can tell you, your wife going to be the same as mine. No interest in it whatsoever. So this is going to be like my late night watch. Like, all right, she's asleep. I'm going to watch another episode of Neighbors.
Okay.
Also, I started watching the Murdoch family docuseries Dynasty on Netflix. Yep. I just eventually got so aggravated and pissed off that I had to stop watching it.
I made it through about half of the first episode and then decided I was going to go to the gym. I think the lady kept watching.
The one thing again, and I think Billy's elsewhere this evening watching something else. Again, just goes to show you everything can be blamed on Ronald Reagan, because the only reason that Murdoch was able to create the Fox channel and then Fox News was
and own newspapers
from the Reagan administration.
Sure, and own all the newspapers. They basically sat there and they were like, "Hey, let's let this guy own as much as he wants." Where there used to be rules, it used to be diversified. You could only have a few TV stations throughout the country. They were just like, "Nah, we like Rupert. Come on, let him have whatever he wants." It's maddening to me.
Also, this week, as is a custom prior to the Oscars, the Raspberry Awards, or the Razzies, get awarded. And not a surprise, Brian, War of the Worlds, the 2025 remake starring Ice Cube, cleaned up. It won Worst Picture of the Year. Currently has a 2.5 star rating on IMDb and a 4% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Ice Cube won Worst Actor for his performance. What else? Oh, Worst Remake / Ripoff / Sequel, also War of the Worlds.
Okay.
And then Rich Lee.
You were not a fan of that. You were not a fan.
And also Worst Screenplay. Oh, it was horrible. Could you even watch it?
I never watched it. I never even tried. Never made it through it.
Also winning Razzies, Rebel Wilson, Worst Actress for Bride Hard, which I didn't realize was a thing. Apparently it was a movie where she played a secret agent whose spy duties are getting in the way of her being a bridesmaid. Worst supporting actress, Scarlett Rose Stallone, daughter of Sylvester Stallone, for the movie Gunslingers. A Nick Cage movie. I'm sure that's bad.
Which one?
And then it's called Gunslingers.
Oh, so Nick Cage was in that movie
with her, yes. Apparently
never heard
the
of it.
Snow White remake in 2025, worst supporting actor.
No.
All 7 artificial CGI dwarfs won a Razzie. And they were also the worst screen combo.
Oh, come on. I just feel like it's kind of racist because if I remember correctly, a lot of the white MAGA Disney people were like, no, we want an all-white cast. No
One
white.
positive, the Razzie Redeemer Award, which is presented to a previous nominee or winner who has successfully come back from critical failure, Kate Hudson, for the movie Song Sung Blue.
Did you ever watch that? I tried to put it on. It was rejected in my household. I tried to put it on. It was just like, is that the Neil Diamond thing? I said, yeah, no. I was like, all right.
But it's not even the Neil Diamond thing. Like Hugh Jackman plays a Neil Diamond cover singer.
But apparently it's based on a true story. So that makes me think that there's got to be something other than just a made up, hey, let's make let's position Hugh Jackman as somebody who can sing the American Songbook.
I don't know. I had no interest in it. What drew you to it? Was it just the fact that it was a real story?
I do like the music of Neil Diamond.
Interesting.
Song Sung Blue.
You're a man of many
Wine,
layers.
America, jazz singer, Forever in Blue Jeans. I mean, I think that man's got a lot of good songs. And also, I will say this. That song, I cannot get past the fact that song was about a young girl. It was about like a 4-year-old girl touching me, touching you. That song creeps the daylights out of me, and I can never, I can't hear it without feeling gross.
All right. Next up, Brian, you always like to put bad stories about the city of Philadelphia on the list.
What?
So this one, it comes last Monday, where a woman was killed after police said she was shot during an apparent argument over a hamster in the Ron Hurst section of Philadelphia. According to investigators, the 19-year-old woman was shot by her boyfriend during the dispute. She was taken to a nearby hospital where she was pronounced dead. The woman apparently said, the boyfriend claims that the woman came at him with a knife and a screwdriver, and that is when she shot him. He has been taken into custody while the investigation goes on. Hasn't really been any updates since then.
But Ron, I have a question. Is this standard Philadelphia behavior? Because I get the impression that it is. That this is the type of behavior that happens. Well, just people shooting each other, domestic problems just going too far, people not being able to communicate with words and just immediately sliding towards violence. This sounds to me like a very stereotypical Philly story.
See, I can't really agree with you because, like, I know this story of a friend of mine. He was having an argument with his wife one time, turned his back on her, and she threw a steak knife at him, which embedded in his back. And they were not living in the city of Philadelphia. So I feel that's an example there of things that can happen outside of the Philadelphia city limits.
I don't remember saying that only Philadelphia is the home to domestic violence. I'm just saying that a lot of Philadelphia has domestic violence disputes.
Well, I think it's not just Philadelphia. I think there are, I think domestic violence is a problem across the country.
I don't disagree with you.
And again, you as the senior misogyny correspondent for the podcast,
stop saying that.
Consistently turned a blind eye to violence against women. So I get that.
Stop saying that.
Let's do a follow-up to the New York Dine and Dasher. I think we talked about her a while back. This is Pei Chung. She had numerous Dine and Dash charges filed against her. She has been, all the criminal charges were apparently thrown out against her. A judge said that she's not mentally stable, so she is going to be transferred from Rikers Island to a state hospital for mental health treatment. During a brief hearing in Brooklyn criminal court last Thursday, Chung did not appear because she refused to appear before the judge, despite charges against her being dismissed. She's referred to as a wannabe influencer. She had posted photos of herself decked out in furs, Louis Vuitton, Hermes accessories, and had been charged with multiple counts of theft of services after stiffing several of Brooklyn's top restaurants in exchange for her so-called promotional skills. She had the cops called on her at least 10 times for the Dine and Dash stunts, including at trendy Williamsburg eateries such as Francie, Lavender Lake, Motorino, and Peter Luger.
Yeah, I can't support this behavior. Like, I enjoy stealing from Whole Foods, but I don't think you can go into a restaurant and take a whole meal for free. I just don't think that's okay.
Now, this is the argument: is she believed her attorney's argument that was that she believed that she was going there to help these businesses, but she wasn't grounded in reality.
Okay.
So, in addition to the mental health hold, she is also remanded due to an active immigration warrant.
So they're going to try and throw her out of the country?
It feels like she could potentially be deported. She also, in addition to the money that she still has not reimbursed the restaurants for, she was evicted from her $3,500 a month apartment in Williamsburg after she racked up $40,000 in back rent.
Okay. Yikes, that's a lot.
It feels like, should that be an excuse for dining and dashing and not paying your rent? Because it feels like a con. Like, this feels like it feels like she was conning people, and now it feels like the mental health issue, because she was refusing to take mental health tests and everything else. It feels like if you just play the game long enough that you don't understand what's going on, that they'll eventually just say, "Oh, well, you're just you're just not mentally fit to go through this whole process."
Ron, I've been playing the game for years, and I mean, I clearly don't know what's going on, and I own 49% of this podcast. I mean, I to me, this is just another example of fake it till you make it. And she's very close to making it, except for these little pesky legal issues.
Pesky legal issues, you say?
Yeah, am I wrong?
I mean, now they don't seem to be legal issues. Now they've gone away. Although the immigration thing, I'm going to say a little bit more than a pesky issue. Like,
all right,
she should have tried to clear all this up under the Biden administration,
which would have absolutely. Well, I mean, she's not sneaking in over the border, so I imagine they would not be take too kindly to her.
No, not at all. All right, let's see. Can we fit one more story in here, Brian?
Absolutely, we can.
I know everyone knows you are not a huge fan of the New York Jets, and this next story will give you even more reason. This is former New York Jets first-round pick Darren Lee, who allegedly consulted ChatGPT about how to cover up the murder of his girlfriend, who he allegedly beat and stabbed to death last month. He allegedly sent the disturbing messages to the chatbot days before Gabriela Carvalho Perpetuo was found by police dead on the floor in a blood-soaked home in Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, this is a problem. I mean, I am shocked at the number of examples that this story has of people who are using AI to help them cover up crimes. As if there's going to be no digital footprint that this guy went to, opened up ChatGPT and typed in, what should I do if my girl isn't moving or breathing? Like, just like, and these stories, you keep reading this stuff.
And this was the prompt that he typed into ChatGPT. Quote, "Don't know what to do right now. Fiance did her crazy thing again, and now she's messed up. I wake up and she has 2 swollen eyes. I didn't do anything. Self-inflicted. She stabbed herself, slit her eye. IDK, but she isn't waking up or responding. What do I do?
Like
To
these guys.
which,
Yeah, keep going, keep going.
to which ChatGPT responded, got it. Here's exactly what is the safest way to handle it without framing it as police trouble.
Unbelievable. Like,
Yeah,
at that point, it's trying. It like no offense, ChatGPT will give this guy advice on how to cover up a murder, but somehow I try to take a very nice photo that you sent me of you having your birthday dinner with your wife, and I can't even get them to put a GIMP mask over your face because, like, literally, all I asked it to do was put a black GIMP mask over your face. And they were like, we think we know what you're trying to do, but we have community guidelines about sexually suggestive material. I'm like, there's nothing sexual about this. He should be wearing a GIMP mask. And they're like, we won't do that. So then I use your line of just like, well, how close can you put a mask on him that won't, confuse? So they gave me that mask. It looked like it was Mick Foley. And I was just like, can you change it to, the mask from brown to black? They wouldn't do it. I was like, can you put a closed zipper? I said, because, when this man chews food, he spits food out while he talks. So we want to close the zipper so he's not spitting food. They still wouldn't do it.
still wouldn't do it, huh?
That pissed me off.
Well, ChatGPT also commented, can a slip and fall cause puncture wounds? Yes, but only under specific conditions. I can help you sanity check whether it lines up with a slip and fall or if it's something that should be evaluated ASAP.
Total, that's just wild, utterly wild.
So apparently, he has dozens of conversations over a 2-day period with ChatGPT about what he did to her in detail, asks how to cover it up, and asks what to say to 911.
All right.
Which he ended up allegedly telling officers that she suffered from narcolepsy and must have fallen asleep in the shower.
Okay. I can't say that I believe that.
Well, because she died from horrific injuries, including severe brain trauma, a broken neck, bruising across her body, and even large bite marks on her shoulder and thigh. She also had stab wounds to her legs and significant injuries to her face, with the cause of death being ruled as blunt force trauma.
Which sounds believable. That sounds like something that could happen, no?
If you slip in the shower, sure. I mean, if you got like granite or some nice marble in there, very possible.
Can you imagine playing in the NFL and now you're basically looking at life in jail? It's just wild to me.
I mean, it's, you see this, like, I always think back to, like, who was that guy that played for the Carolina Panthers? Ray Caruth, like a guy who had signed like a huge contract and then murdered his pregnant girlfriend. He's doing life. I mean, you see these guys who, get in, like, they'll take their car out for like 150 miles an hour while they're drinking, kill a family of 4. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, you win the lottery when you make the pros, basically, and you sign these type of contracts. I mean, even though this guy wasn't like a big name, he probably, he made generational wealth playing in the NFL for the years that he did.
Of course. And it's just all wasted because you cannot control his emotions and turns to physical violence. Piece of shit.
Allegedly.
Do we have to say allegedly in this case? He hasn't been found guilty yet?
At this point, still. Yeah, he still has to go to court.
All right, we'll go alleged.
If you don't know where to turn your emotions to tonight, people, turn them to After Dark, which is part of our Patreon subscriber package. If you go to cultofronandbrian.com, you click in the upper right-hand corner. Not only do you get great swag, not only do you get some great potential things, a voicemail from Brian. We'll tell you how to cover up a murder. You don't need to go to ChatGPT. But one thing we do each and every Sunday night is we do an additional half hour of content, our sexy, steamy content that needs to be behind a paywall. We're here for the children. We understand this stuff shouldn't be out there in front of everybody. The last Sunday of every month, we have our special pajama party. We have our subscribers on with us. We have a trivia contest. It's a lot of fun. Granted, this hour plus that we give you every week, It's fantastic. It's tremendous. But this is a way for you to give back. This allows me to go buy king crabs and violins for myself, while also putting a little bit of money back towards the podcast as well.
It's good to be king, I believe was quoted by Mel Brooks. You are a champion, and you'll remind us all.
All right. Well, Brian, another great hour as we truck closer and closer to episode 400. We put this out on social media earlier. If you want to call and leave a message that we potentially play on episode 400, the phone number is 215-839-8005. Call, leave your voicemail, and maybe you'll hear your own voice in a month when we do episode 400. Brian, anything else before we wrap up episode 396?
Another great stellar episode. This train is a rolling, and episode 400 is in our sights. I know you've got a lot of great ideas, a lot of things planned. I'm looking forward to it.
Should be a good time. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. We will catch you next week.
Thank you for joining us for the latest episode of The Cult of Ron and Brian. A non-tax deductible contribution can be made by subscribing to our Patreon. Visit cultofronandbrian.com and click on Become a Patron. We'll see you again next week.